See, asking if you can just take a picture of it.
Okay, so no sign of it as much yet, no? And anything, any advisory?
Excuse me, can we move that way?
But in between Central Sun, Scotland,
Well, guys, if it's not then 30.
through the Midlands into parts of Yorkshire, Lincolnshire later on, so heavier portions of rain.
It's alright, they're going to...
No. 22 Celsius and about another 22 in the southeast.
Is that it then? Jeff, is that it?
It is. It's the bottom right, which is just black. Yeah, that's it.
Hi guys, you okay?
Hi.
Northern Ireland, Northern England as well, susceptible to some heavy rain and a risk of flooding.
So basically, we'll do the heads, and then take a call, and if that presser comes up off the head, we can go to it.
No, sure.
If not, we'll just carry on.
Gradually ease. There'll be some heavy showers for England and Wales in particular.
And
but those showers
we
will
lead
be
into us to
lighter,
which
fewer
camera?
in between on Friday, a bit more with a sunshine. Okay.
Good, we get it then. Today at 5, the first athletes arrive as the Olympic security row intensifies. G4S is accused in effect of having misled ministers about its staffing plans. As thousands of competitors start to arrive for the Games, politicians are blaming each other for the security problems.
After the G4S shambles, we now need things back.
Britain's economic prospects are downgraded by the IMF, with next to no growth predicted in this year. 3 children found dead in a wood in Shropshire. Their father's body has been found nearby. In Syria, the fighting gets ever closer to the heart of Damascus amid talk of civil war. 53 million and rising. The population in England, Wales and Northern Ireland shows its strongest growth since records began. It's 5 o'clock, very good evening. Our main story is that police officers from 9 forces are being drafted in to help with security at Olympic venues following the failure of G4S to supply enough staff. But that company insists that police support will only be needed for a few days until security staff are fully assigned.
Well, after G4S admitted it couldn't vet and train enough staff in time.
Thanks,
The
guys.
shortfall emerged last week. This afternoon in the House of Commons, the Home Secretary
yeah,
was dismissing suggestions
introing them on
that the government
boxes?
knew about this months ago.
G4S assured LOCOG and the government continuously that they would be able to deliver their contractual obligations.
If you can do that.
But on Wednesday the 11th of July, following the difficulties with scheduling, which the company has acknowledged, G4S notified LOCOG and the government that they would not be able to provide the
So will I
numbers
do
of
that to
security
3
personnel
boxes then?
specified in their
Fine.
contract. I want to be clear that this was the first time that G4S admitted to anyone.
I'll say in a moment we'll be at Westminster. First Nick Ravenscroft in Manchester, yeah?
They had promised.
Everyone wants to blame the opposition, unwilling to accept the government's version.
Fine, and after that we are... There's still nothing from that presser
Monitoring was
That poor so
about the dreadful discovery of those bodies today. And that was meant to happen at 5, okay? But as you can see, nothing's happening. And we're now told it's 5:30. So that would have affected the top of the programme, alright? As it is, it didn't happen, so we'll go back to our original plan,
Turned
yeah?
up for work. The expected cost, £30,000 a day. The latest development has provoked anger.
Not so enough for work, and now we can soldiers. And those who presided on what the people were coming in for disgrace to hang their head.
Stand by.
In just over a week, crowds of spectators will swarm across the Olympic venues. It's hoped any questions over the security will be ironed out by then. Katie Rowlett, BBC News.
So, some things to discuss, not least the political debate, and for that we'll be at Westminster with our correspondent Chris Mason in just a few minutes. But before that, the events today in Manchester, and we're going to talk to Nick Ravenscroft, our correspondent there. Nick, just bring us right up to date on what's happened there with bringing police in to help out and the kinds of thing that the security firm has been saying there.
just reiterate this. This is symptomatic of many forces around the country which have had this kind of problem in the last 2 days. Let me tell you what happened. The police arrived here on double pay. Now, the teams which are going to be staying at this hotel, they're not in place yet. If they were staying here, rather than those football teams from less sensitive countries.
Well, indeed, Nick, thanks very much for bringing us up to date. We'll go straight to Westminster. And Chris, we'll pick up there, having heard the exchanges a short while ago. What do you make of the kind of political debate that we've seen today?
It's quite striking, Hugh, hearing
athletes and officials have been arriving at the Olympic Village in East London with, as I said, just 11 days to go until we try to look ahead to see what's coming up.
Impression was positive.
And trying to make sure that I'm getting the right questions into people in a limited time. Because we've got potentially this news conference and a couple of other live events.
Helping to
the latest from the Olympic Park for us. Now, the Prime Minister has given details of what he called the biggest rail investment programme since Victorian times. He announced that £9 billion would be spent in England and Wales between 2014 and 2019, which should lead to faster and more reliable services. There are fears that fares will have to keep rising to pay for all of that. Our transport correspondent Richard Westcott has the details.
The scale is ambitious. New electric lines will mean faster trains and more service across England and Wales.
Yes, just joining us.
Stations will be upgraded, track replaced. In all, nearly £9.5 billion, £5 billion on schemes that are already underway, and £4 billion on new schemes.
It's a huge investment. It's really the most serious investment going into our railways. The journey to
Much of the cash will go on electrifying lines.
Is that to 1 or 3?
There's money for various projects around northern cities, including Manchester, Leeds and York, and the main line running up the spine of England.
Our concern is that passengers will be priced off the railways. There will be all these gleaming new electric trains, which will be great, but people won't be able to afford to travel on them because the government will have insisted on
things in the coalition. Ministers want to prove they agree on something. Richard Westcott, BBC News, St Pancras.
Well, now let's have a look at the headlines. It's 16 minutes past 5. Home Secretary Theresa May has told MPs that the security company G4S has failed to meet its contractual obligations. Police in Manchester today have had to step in after some security staff failed to show up for work there. Athletes and officials have started to arrive in London for the Games. The first of these special road lanes has come into operation along the M4 motorway. Also today, the International Monetary Fund has downgraded its latest forecast for economic growth in the UK this year.
Stage 15 on the Tour de France. To cheer the home crowd, Britain's Bradley Wiggins is still in possession of the yellow jersey. Should golf be worried about the Open? Tiger Woods thinks.
Thank you very much. Now, the population of England and Wales has grown faster in the past decade than for any other period since records began. Figures released today by the Office for National Statistics, the results in effect of last year's census we're talking about, show that are not just interesting figures, though they are very interesting, because of course they should be translating into areas of policy for the government. They've got very big implications, for example, for social care and other areas of policy. So the results of the census in that way are not just matters of statistical interest.
Oh, absolutely. Also, even England, so people planning things like Christmas.
It's a decade event. Are you already planning for the next one in 9 years' time? Is that already underway?
Well, the planning for this one started back in
This is the latest running piece. It's news scripts coming out. Somebody has just written something new. So
okay, just study it for a second. Double quick. Yeah. So you can see what I've got here. I've got my running order and all the wires that come up on here for me to tell me what's happening here. There's no second presenter at the moment. And then as you can see, there's autocue on all the cameras. But the thing about the news channel is, lots of the introductions to stories are on autocue, which is fine. But if you're interviewing, or if you're talking over pictures that are live, you're going to have to sort of do your own bit. So, very important that you've done your homework out on the news desk before you come in. Or else you can find yourself in a sticky situation, yeah? Which sometimes you do, okay, because some things happen, sometimes things happen and you can't prepare for them. And then, as you can see, what we put up on the screen up there is
the kind of things that I could be expecting come out quite soon. So there's a guest sitting in there in Westminster now. That, the top left is still that news conference that hasn't come up. This is what's going out on air at the moment, as you can see.
Yes, I do.
That's, I'm not quite sure what that is. That bottom right, it's the murder scene. Whether that's a live shot or whether it's just a still, I'm not quite sure. Okay? Then business and sport, either with me here, or they'll do a bulletin over there. The weather guy will do the weather screen to that screen at the back. And tonight for the 10 o'clock news,
30 seconds, guys.
that's slightly different to this. Headlines from over there, standing up. Good evening, standing up. And then me here. Okay, guys?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.
The Syrian government
About 15 seconds.
armed rebels who should be blamed for violence.